Something that we get asked about quite a lot is what to look out for when buying secondhand harps. So I thought I'd do a little video showing you some tips for looking at soundboards today. It won't be completely comprehensive, but it will just cover some things that you can look out for yourself. And I'm surrounded by dogs, as you can see. I'm on my own today, so yeah, I'll probably have a few interruptions. But yeah, I'm just going to show you a few things to look out for. I've got a Russian here, which has got a specific split in the soundboard, which I can show you, and then an old Grecian here as well, which I'll give an example for of pulling up against the screws. Quiet, dogs. Come on. No, I'm not playing with you. I'm becoming a YouTube star. Yeah. So yeah, I'll give you some close-ups now of the soundboards and show you a few things to look out for.
You're so naughty. You're so naughty. You're so naughty.
So as I said, we've got a Russian harp here, which has got a split in the soundboard. It's actually on the other side as well, but I don't know if you can see that in the video. These Russians are unveneered, so you can just see the actual underlying soundboard wood here. I've got a Salvi soundboard that I'm in the middle of replacing at the moment, which you can see it's actually got veneer that goes perpendicular, if that's the right word, to the grain of the soundboard. And this is actually suffering from the same problem. Hopefully you can see that there. So it's got a split in the underlying soundboard wood, but it's showing through onto the veneer up on the top here. So these sort of splits are particularly problematic, basically, and if you get this issue, you are basically looking at replacing the soundboard. Anything that is going across the grain of the soundboard wood essentially means that the soundboard's about to fail, and it's really not going to last very much longer. So if you are looking at a harp that's got this sort of issue, you need to go with the idea that you're going to have the soundboard replaced in probably very short order. You know, you're talking about a few months really until it's going to need to be replaced. So if you're buying it just because of the sound, you need to bear in mind that when you replace the soundboard, it's not going to sound exactly the same. It won't necessarily sound worse, but it's going to sound different. And you've got to factor in the cost of replacing the soundboard as well. So definitely something to watch out for. This Grecian actually has a plywood soundboard, but doesn't really make a difference. Principles are all the same. Oh, Alfie, thanks for showing your bum. Principles are still the same. This plywood soundboard's been in there for quite a few years. So when you look from the side, you can see that it's quite bellied. It's quite pregnant, as we put it. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You want a bit of belly on it. And with a plywood soundboard like this, you're going to get somewhat more belly because they have a bit more flex to them. But obviously, if it's got too much, then it's not a good thing because it indicates that the soundboard's sort of stretched to its limit, as it were. So if this was a normal harp soundboard made with actual real wood, I'd be more concerned, particularly because you can see that it's got quite a belly up at the top here as well. So that's definitely something to look for. Excuse me, dogs. Oi, come on, leave that alone. Thank you. I'm being mobbed. So yeah, looking for a pregnant belly is definitely something to look out for, and if it's too big, you want to sort of either avoid it or know that, again, it's a sign that within the sort of not too distant future, the chances are it's going to need a soundboard replaced. I think the last thing to look out for, and I can hopefully show you again on this Grecian, is looking down the soundboard like this. You're looking at the screws underneath the top strip here. So these top strips actually have a line of screws that secure the harp to the body underneath. It's a little bit difficult to see, but I think you can just make out down here there's a slight ripple at the side of the soundboard. I think it's maybe slightly more pronounced on the other side of the harp, so let's see if we can get that. It doesn't really show, but you can almost see it here, these slight indentations. That's where the soundboard is bearing up against the heads of the screws and pulling quite hard on them. This is a sign that the glue joint on the side of the harp has completely failed, And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that the soundboard's going to need to be replaced instantly, and it may well last for quite a few years, but it's just a sign that the soundboard's quite stressed, and in the sort of near to mid-term you're going to have to think about having it done. So just something again to factor in for the price. This is something that I would definitely recommend getting checked by an expert, as it were, because they may well turn around and say, actually, it's not too bad, you don't need to worry about it for a good few years. But obviously something that you want to factor in when you're negotiating for the price. Hopefully some of that information was helpful, so let me know if you found any of that interesting down in the comments. If you do find it helpful or interesting, I'll do some more videos in future on necks and mechanisms and other things to look out for when buying second-hand harps. Cheers!